Okay, I'm just going to do a little video here in regards to this eye situation, people. Okay? I fucked around with this one optometrist that was my landlady said, call. They're good, right? Okay, so I told you what happened. I called. They wanted to book me in the next day. This was a couple months ago. I said, no, I can't, because it was just too soon, right? It's not like I could just get up and go jump in a car and drive there and go see them, right? You know what I mean? I have to either take the kids with me, I'm in either taking a taxi, which costs money, or I'm taking a bus, or I'm walking, depending on where it is, right? Otherwise, I have to have Tisha come here, right? Okay, so whatever. Anyway, I said, no, I couldn't do it the next day. I'll call you back. And because, and I said, well, I'll call you back and we'll make an appointment. So I called back. They didn't answer their phone. I called back. They didn't answer their phone. Then I got busy, people, okay? I got busy, I completely forgot about it. The phone number with the piece of paper with the phone number for that particular place, it got mixed in with my papers and I couldn't find it, so I just went about my day. And then as I'm now sorting out stuff, because we know, right, 11 computers, I'm going to start sorting out even those things, right? Sorting out papers, whatever. I came across that piece of paper. I called them. They didn't answer their phone, left a message. I called them again. They didn't answer their phone. They left a message. Okay. Finally, they called me back. And I'm like, oh, okay. Then they say they can see me, right? They wanted to verify that I was covered through social services. Okay, that all got checked in. And then they wanted to send me something online to fill out online in terms of a questionnaire. And I'm like, well, I don't really want to do that. Why can't, whatever. And, like I have, I have a mask exemption, right? So then she says, you can't come and see us unless you're willing to wear a mask. And I'm like, well, where does that come from? Because as far as I know, there is no quote unquote order from AKA Dr. God, Dr. Death, whatever she is to you. But besides that point, they said that basically it was their policy, so be it. Okay, fine. She said, call this number, the association for, their freaking licensing board that deals with all those offices, and they'll help me find one where I can go without a mask. I said, okay, so, you're not going to see me. I just wasted fucking months trying to deal with this shit, even though I know I lost their number for a while, and, you gave it your best shot, but okay, no problem. I've been dealing with this shit for years and years and years and years, so, a few more months or days or whatever isn't going to matter, right? And I'm trying to book these appointments after the 20th, so that, because I don't want, I'm going to go to the food bank and I'm for that mental therapy, even though it's like miles and miles away. And being that this last clinic I was talking to was like up and around that neighborhood, I thought, okay, I'll go see them first, then I'll go to the food bank, and then I'll just come home and that'll be it, right? Since I'm out that way, right? Because I have to take a bus, right? They won't see me. So now I got these 4 other numbers here. I go for the first 2, and because I phoned that that Optometrist Association, right? And they gave me 4 numbers that's out here. They couldn't tell me whether they would see me or not because of a mask, right? And I said, that's fine, I'll call. And she said, well, if you can't find anybody, just call us back and we'll give you some more numbers. Okay. I told you, I'm in that pipeline, people. Right? So anyway, the first 2 numbers I call, because I'm doing it right now, okay, didn't answer their phone, okay? And you have to remember, these businesses, I don't know, whole bunch of businesses, even lawyer offices, people, got money from the government to cut back on services to accommodate whatever it was that the government was ordering in terms of putting up plexiglass and having a number of people come into their business, and the days you're allowed to work and your days you're not allowed to work, and you got to have this and that and everything. Government compensated a lot of businesses for the bullshit that the government ordered upon those businesses, so that those businesses took a loss where a lot of these businesses, they put their application in to cover their losses. So I'm wondering if maybe I'm coming into contact with a little bit of this shenanigans where it doesn't really matter to the business whether they see me or not. But then don't forget though, people, I'm already targeted under that two-tiered system where I'm a second-class citizen because of the type of coverage that I have that isn't at par with what these, whether it's the dentist, the doctor, the freaking eye doctor, whatever it is, it's not at par in terms of if you go in paying for an eye appointment, it's $85. You pay your $85 and they're happy as pie. You come in with your subsidized social assistance payment plan and they might only get $65. So they're losing $20. They don't like that. I don't know if it's $65, could be $45 for all I freaking know. All I know is it's not up to par with their standard fees. So sometimes they ask you to top off what the government doesn't pay. Sometimes they don't. That's like my doctor, my family doctor, told me he wasn't going to fill out any disability form unless I paid $250, even though he fucked me over with the first time around that he did it, people. And then he made sure he did a disappearing act knowing that he fucked it over and that it wouldn't be approved, so that when they came back and told me that I had to go see my family doctor to correct it and I only had 1 week to do it if I wanted long-term disability, but they knew that he was gone for 3 weeks because your medical files are tweaked. That is not coincidence. It was done by design. Okay? Just like they cut me off of welfare in 2003 with 5 dependent children in the middle of fucking winter, January, okay, of 2003. And then when I was fighting for Andre, okay, and they got into my files and they were digging deep and trying to look for their dirt and all this other shit. And I brought up the fact that I was cut off of welfare in 2003 by them, social services. By some mole in an office that was being vindictive because at that time it was under the BC Liberal government trying to balance the fucking budget, and they did it by any means necessary by going after the poor. Okay? That worker that was around at that time, as you know, we were doing whatever we were doing, came back and tried to tell me that it was something that I chose to do. I said, no. Why would I do that with five dependent kids? I lost my house of 8 years because of that shit, people. Okay? So whether it's written in the file there that they fucking did it, because that's what she's, oh, you did it. You're the one that chose to go off welfare. No, I was cut off of welfare. And not only was I cut off, but I was cut off illegally within 9 months. Within 9 months before the legislation that allowed them to do that even came into effect. And even then, I didn't fall under that legislation, people. The worst that they could have done to me at that time, as they were bringing in American welfare reform, was deduct $100 from my welfare check. Not fucking completely cut me off. So you see how they in the background, in your fucking files, falsifying shit. And then come back fucking 15 years later and say, well, you're the one that chose to do that. No, I didn't, people. Why would I do that? Why would I give up my house of 8 years? To end up in some leaky, dinky, freaking rotten apartment that I could only stay in for 3 months because the bloody thing was flooding out. And then I ended up in some fucking shanty shack for 3.5 years looking after a little girl for the Ministry of Children and Family Development as a foster care parent, but I never fucking got paid for it, people. Okay? I was off welfare for 6 years because of those shenanigans. Went into debt by 40 grand and continued to work on the foundation. Did a lot of stuff at Gateway Place with the kids. Got freaking videos on that. Got pictures on that. I got the fucking receipts on that shit. Okay, so besides that point. So, okay, no problem. I call to these numbers. They don't even answer their phone. Isn't that like a deja vu? Why? Why are you not answering your phone? You must be getting propped up by the fucking government so that you can just turn people away and discriminate against them like this last fucking shit that I just went through. Go through all that, get it approved, whatever. They run my card through. They tell me I can come, and then I say, well, I'm not going to wear. Oh no, you can't come now. It's company policy. It's just the way we do things. Yeah, but I'm reminding you that it's not mandated. Oh, it doesn't matter. Okay, whatever. Then I called a third number. I guess I had been there in 2016. And I said, yeah, well, it's been an ongoing problem in terms of my eyes. Okay, that was the last time I was at this particular clinic in the mall. She told me I had to come in today because apparently they're going to be renovating. I don't have to wear a mask. Oh, isn't that interesting? I don't have to wear a mask. But the other clinic, I have to wear a mask. Oh, so whatever you're trying to say by saying it's fucking mandated is a bunch of bullshit, so why are you lying to me on the fucking phone? First of all, why are you discriminating against me? First of all, because we already know you're going to discriminate against me because I'm on social assistance, because that's what happens in British Columbia, Canada. I've been living here almost my whole life, so I should know. And even if you go off fucking welfare, you still get discriminated against because you don't have enough fucking money because you're not a fucking criminal. If you're not a fucking criminal, you get punished in this freaking province, people. I'm telling you. You get rewarded like Julia's fucking sister. As YouTube props up the province with their shenanigans. You know, it's just a chain effect. That's why I brought that name up. Right? Big money, murder by fentanyl. What do you think keeps up this fucking economy and builds up all these fucking buildings that sit empty for a year?
Nothing fancy here.
Yeah, nothing fancy here.
Just a little.
I have to upload videos onto BitChute that I haven't fucking put them onto there yet. Like I'm choked. So anyway, they pulled up my file. I said, no problem. I asked them if I don't have to wear a mask. They said, no problem, you don't have to. Oh, wow, interesting, isn't that, eh? But here's the problem. They're going to renovate. If I don't come today, I can't go back until May 31st. Because they're closing down until May 31st for renovations. I said, you gotta be kidding me. As if I can run off to the fucking mall. Right? As if, people. As if. I don't know what to do. I can call Tisha, but, you know, Tisha, please come to the house fast. I gotta go to the mall. Right? And for all I know, this referral that my landlord gave to me for his eye specialist will refuse me because I won't wear a mask. So even though I think I can get a referral, which I can, for a specialist, the specialist might do the same damn shit that some of these other funky fucking clinics are doing by saying, no, you can't come in because you won't wear a mask. We're just not going to tell you that the government is propping us up for that propaganda. In terms of, you know, if they're taking a loss because they're turning away patients, it doesn't affect them because they get their little top off with the government and their subsidies. That's why lawyers aren't stepping up to the plate to fight the bullshit, people, because they're being paid off. Basically, it's a bribe. But besides that point, so anyway, we know I can get in after May 31st with that clinic, assuming that Dr. God, Dr. Death doesn't come in and try and make it a provincial mandate to start the process all over again, to dumb people down, to, you know, depress them even more, to freaking confuse them and make them angry and unreasonable and just the whole 9 yards with the psychological warfare, right? And then, and this is what provokes me to freaking do this video, I phoned up some other clinic. I don't have the full name of it, although I fucking should. I was going to record these conversations with these people because I knew I was going to come into this funky shit. And I'm like, don't, because, you know, do what's important here. Like, this is important, but, you know, it's not like you haven't been coping with it for a long time, dealing with fucking this shit for a long time, right? You don't need to get anal about it. And catch them in the act, because we already know. And if you really want to fucking write it down, you can write it down on a piece of paper so that when you go to court, when you do go to court, you can show how you're being targeted in this province through the healthcare system. So I call up this fourth number, somewhere around here. I don't have the full name for it, but besides that point, I mean, the first time she answers the phone, and I said, okay, I'd like to see, right? But before that happens, can I come in without a mask? No, you have to wear a mask. I said, well, where's that coming from? It's mandated. I said, no, it's not. It's not mandated, right? Oh, well, and I'm like, well, clearly you're discriminating against me by telling me I need to do something that... I'm not having this conversation. I said, yeah, so in other words, she's had this conversation before with many other people that are calling their clinic for fucking help, okay? For fucking help. And she's obviously pissed off about it because she took it out on me. I'm not having this conversation. Click. Oh, dude, I didn't create that kind of reaction, people. Other people calling before me created that reaction. Right? Because they don't need the money. Because the government is already somewhere in along that pipeline is paying them off to do this shit. How can you keep your business open if you're turning your customers away? Think about it. You're a bought and paid for freaking shill. So, the other two didn't answer their phone. Already went through that bullshit with my landlady's freaking clinic that at the end of the day shut the door on me because they don't have proper PPE. As if they don't go home and order a freaking pizza or go to the grocery store and start touching everything, and anywhere else that they go, to the gas station and grab onto the fucking gas pipe. For all they know, I could come in, go grab the fucking gas pump, fill up my car, get in my car, drive off, you come up behind me, take your hands, grab onto the pump, fill up your and then get in the car and go like this, and go like, and then, it's just bullshit, people. Bullshit! But they get something out of the bullshit, people. Right? Illegal organ harvesting is flourishing in the province of British Columbia, Canada. Okay, a lot of these individuals that have these clinics, like where my family doctor works, where do you think they're scoping out their next victims? And because the government is involved and the cops cover it up, and they use public facilities to harvest whatever it is that they want to harvest, when you go in asking for your children's medical files because you disagree with the autopsy report, because you lived it, you know what was going on versus what the autopsy report had to say, and you go and you make that request, and they're more interested in protecting the cops, all those cops that came into contact with Sierra while she was alive, and anybody else that came into contact. What about those guys standing there watching her taking a shower in the hospital, and then they come in and they bum rushed her with somebody coming in and throwing a fucking bag over her head? Got that on recording, people, with Sierra raging in the freaking garage after they released her. That's the kind of stuff they don't want me to see. And that's why my family doctor put the brakes on it from the clinic and then put the call out through the pipeline to the hospital to make sure that I wouldn't get those records. And then she was lured to her death. And we know what happened, people. We know what happened. Got that on video too. With that Phantom car. And that body guy looking into his camera with a big grin on his face when he gets to the bottom of the stairs, doing his little hand signals with his masochistic freaking beaded freaking studded freaking bracelets and shit. I'm surprised he didn't. Maybe he did. Maybe he did have one of those masochistic sadist freaking collars on. We just didn't notice it, but we noticed it there. Who does that going to work, picking up dead bodies, unless they're doing something behind closed doors? And if you notice, they didn't let my family or me even identify Sierra, but they let John Hart identify Sierra, the one that was being investigated for suspicious activity. And then they came back with their funky, what is that, autopsy report. As they play mind games with the general public. Oh, well, it's mandated. No, it's not. Oh, well, I'm not having this conversation with you. I wonder why. I wonder why. Maybe because I'm not the first person to find out how bogus your company really is. But that's okay. The government likes bogus companies. Because those bogus companies, they're just fronts. They're fronts to the illegal activity that is going on in this province. So I'm going to just finish this video on this. Now, I spoke with that, there's no point in running off to the mall trying to get a referral for a specialist that may or may not see you. So Tisha was willing to come here, but I said, let me phone the specialist to make sure first that I can go see them without a mask. They answered their phone, because remember, not everybody answers their phone, people, because if they lose out on their money and it affects, paying their expenses, all they do is put in an application in with the government under whatever it is that the government did, and the government gives them $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 to cover those expenses. So they're not, it's an inconvenience, but they're not really losing anything if they put their applications in to recoup their losses. So in the meantime, I phoned up that specialist. Apparently you're supposed to wear a mask too. And I'm like, well, how's that going to work? But, I have a mask exemption. Oh, well, hold on. Then she comes back and she says, well, what's it for? And I'm like, well, it's a mask exemption. I've had it since this all pretty much started. It's on a prescription form, right? Whatever. But what's it for? And I said, well, I'm going to have issues, right? You want me to be in your office for however long? I can't even wear a mask in the house for 2 freaking minutes, people. Okay, I'm going to go into a eye specialist clinic having freaking palpation, heart attack, panic attacks, right? Because we already know how I feel about the whole situation, right? And then, I got this mask on with my heart going like this. Okay, and then who knows, right? An hour goes by. Okay, you don't think that my over 50 PSI or whatever the hell it is not gonna go to 100? Have a fucking brain aneurysm yet? Right there in the bloody office? I said, why are you doing that? Because first, it's mandated. I said, no, it's not. It's not. Oh, well, it keeps everybody safe. Yeah, except me. Except me. But what's new in British Columbia, Canada? Right? Just bring in some more immigrants to fill the gap. As my family, right? Gets mistreated and then disappears. Whether through death or through kidnappings. Right? Oh, but we won't talk about those things on a provincial level. God forbid. No, that's too close to home. Right? We'll just fuck with people in out in society with, clinics and, those kind of things, and doctors' offices and hospitals, and, you know, just let it catch up to them that way, right? And then 15 years later, come back and say you did it to yourself. It was something that you chose to do. No, I didn't choose to do it. In terms of cutting me off of welfare when they did illegally through legislation that wasn't even in effect. That is going under my document list. So before that will happen, though, and the government is held to account, they're going to pick you off through this little petty bullshit freaking, you see, like I said, though, if they turn away people, it doesn't affect them because they still make their money anyway, because the government has made sure that they can recoup their losses by putting in their application to cover the cost of running their business under mandates that ultimately really don't keep people safe, because you don't know, somebody could be sitting there doing some really nasty shit in their car before they get out of their car and then go grab onto that gas pump, put their freaking grimy hands all over it, right, and then jump back in their car and drive off, and you go right behind them, put your freaking hands right on that hand pump, and then get in the car, forgot what you did, go like this, do whatever you do, and then think that you're being safe. I'd be more concerned about that, people, than I would be about somebody standing beside me and just being them. People are so just retarded. Seriously, people are just so fucking retarded. Anyway, I'm not going to get bent out of shape. It's been like this for years. This is why it's like this, people. Okay? This is just another example.